Hi everybody. Yeah, happy Saturday. It's September 30th, 2023, and it's a beautiful day out. So, yeah, as soon as this uploads, it's going up for public consumption because this afternoon it's supposed to be 80s and sunny, and I'm going out and enjoying it. So, yeah. October it starts tomorrow. It starts at midnight, so it's always like, yeah, you can wear shorts and a t-shirt walking around, but by the time Halloween run comes around, you better have your flannels out. Yeah, so please remember, hey, yeah, I'm a clairvoyant, clairaudient, psychic, so everything is for entertainment purposes only. And I'll be the first person to say this upcoming month of October is going to be busy. Yes, yes. I get a lot of calls about people because they remember back in the days, remember entertainment purposes only. Uh, Back when I was young, still a teenager, believe it or not, I started doing some work with a world renowned ghost hunter by the name of Richard T. Crow. You can pull. Unfortunately, Richard passed away about a decade ago, but he is fondly remembered by a lot of people worldwide. And yes, there still is an active Facebook page. It is run by his sisters. So, yeah, you can pop in there or just Google Richard T. Crow, Chicago Ghost Hunter, and you're going to find a ton of stuff on the internet. And if you keep seeing this video called Ghosts of Chicago, let us know because that's major copyright infringement. Okay? Yeah, I still have the release from back when I worked on that documentary. And no, did not agree for it to be. It only includes initial showing and distribution. But if it's found anyplace else on the internet, it's big no-no. Big, big no-no. I know if I wanted to pull a clip off and put it up, I would be able to get permission, but I'm not going to do that yet. And there's other things that we're planning on doing, so hey, life goes on. But yeah, something that that is going on. I'll cover a lot of stuff. Remember, entertainment purposes only. I did made sure to check out Mystical Fortunes. She did some auto writing with Wallis and David. And as everybody knows, I do get messages from Wallis. I think it's because she knows I am very familiar with the kind of world she actually grew up in. Wallis grew up in the world of genteel poverty. Her family was extremely high up in society for the Baltimore East Coast region, like Baltimore, Washington, D.C., going up to Philadelphia, from basically the eastern seaboard. They have their own little enclave of high society. Okay, go back, look at the Astors, Vanderbilts, pull up that mini-series, The Gilded Age. I mean, Julian Fellows really did his research on that. And Wallis comes from the old mainline old guard society, just like Zelda Fitzgerald. She was the original flapper, but yes, she was part of that East Coast hoi polloi. And so, yeah, I do get messages from Wallis, and it was interesting while I was watching Mystical Fortune and the automatic writing. I started hearing stuff come. I was literally hearing Wallis's voice saying, "Hey, this is more information." And one part she was Wallis was mentioning, yes, explain about Baltimore society and the Philadelphia main line. I mean, go listen to that old Laura Branigan song Gloria. And there's a song you're going to find them on the main line. The main line means the upper crust of society. The really society people, the wealthy main line is the area where they lived. It was on a certain, it refers to a certain streetcar trolley track, which went into the ritzy neighborhood. So that was the main line. That's how it got started. And yeah, it's like Wallis was, hey, she was also like Zelda, a bit of a flapper, new way. After World War I, women had more freedoms, and yes, Wallis did marry a member, like a flying ace from the Army Air Corps. Back then, there was no Air Force. It was still the Army Air Corps. And because this person, her first husband, was high ranking and was affiliated with, attached to the right families and so forth, yes, he was then, went over, after they were married, they did go over to be part of the international diplomatic group located in Shanghai, China. Now, this is where all the nasty rumors started. It turned out that Wallis's first husband was not the nicest guy in the world. Actually, he was a nasty drunk. And what happened, what she was telling me, she goes, yeah. When I told him I was pregnant, because he didn't want children, he literally beat the living daylights out of Wallis to such an extent that a miscarriage happened, but the internal damage to her was so bad that back in the 1920 area, yes, they did have anesthetic and so forth. They had to give her a hysterectomy because he actually damaged her womb so badly. That's what happened. This is what she's telling me. She told me, he beat me so badly that my womb was damaged and removed. Yes, my true love, I wrote it down. She goes, yes, my true love was Ernest. I only planned on being like Alice Keppel. We needed the entree for Ernest to be successfully business-wise. I only wanted to follow the example of Alice Keppel. But David would not have it. David forced demanded and instigated and started the divorce proceedings without our approval. I was basically forced by society and the politicians into a marriage to a man I did not love. My true love was Ernest. David was obsessed with me. And I had to live a life in a gilded cage. She then told me, she goes, when David mentioned in his auto writing, in his message to, she actually mentioned the real first name of Mystical Fortunes. When he was writing to, he was actually talking about Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon. That woman, Elizabeth, hated the fact, and so did Philip Battenberg. Those two hated the fact that I could relate to my niece on a level that those two could never achieve. Only my niece and I, my niece Lilibet, understood what the weight and how it is to be the monarch. I could understand her. And yes, there were private letters that nobody knew about that went between the two of us. We would burn the letters. We would toss them into the fireplace so they could not be traced. Yes. He goes, so this is the information that came from Wallis and David via Wallis to me this morning. And I know most of the time Wallis does make snarky comments about the little wannabe social climber. The social climber that she always refers to is Rachel. Yeah, I did some poking around. I know some people in Chicago politics who are well connected to Rahm Emanuel. I also know people who are tangled up with William Morris Endeavor Agency in California. What's going on is that the reason why Rachel was signed onto a contract with WME is so that there would be a leash and a muzzle put on her. The Donkey National Committee knows that Rachel is a loose cannon, so they appealed to her vanity, got her locked up with one of the top talent agencies on the West Coast to keep her under control. They know that she is a massive liability, and and Ari Emanuel is basically keeping her on a tight leash, and because they know she's a massive liability to the donkey party, and they don't need a ticking time boom by the name of Rachel. We know that she's already blowing up the phones because of Diane Fiendstein passed away. How convenient. Yeah, she's been blowing up the phone, every single phone in Sacramento that she has a number for, because she wants to be appointed the next state senator because she fits Gavin Newsom's statement of being a black woman. She better start investing in some serious dark grease paint. She wants to carry that off. But if anybody has noticed and looked at the timeline, yeah, Dianne Feinstein was on the Senate floor in the morning, Thursday morning, and she voted on something, and then she retired to her office. And then I guess she had a couple meetings, and then the office door was shut. And for the afternoon roll call, where everybody had to be back in the Senate chamber for another vote, she wasn't there. I'm getting the information that basically she her crossing of the Rainbow Bridge was accelerated because they could use the excuse of her crossing the Rainbow Bridge to delay the vote on the budget in order to make the elephants look horrible. But this nonsense with them accelerating her crossing of the bridge, it's going to backfire big time, because right now, look at the news. NYC received so much rain. I mean, Mother Nature just nailed them big time. It's a flood zone. Even the subway tunnels are flooded. Adam's apple is in crisis mode, so same with that Holcomb chickie poo. And AOC is even getting AOC is getting bombarded with calls. Where's FEMA? Where's FEMA? But because they planned the disruption by getting Diane to cross the bridge, they kind of put everybody into a period of mourning for her, so nothing would get done, meaning no work on the budget to make the elephants look bad. But because there's no work on the budget, and here New York is flooded out from torrential rain, they're not going to have any FEMA support, no big government support to help with the issues. And the state of New York, that little bimbo that they've got as governor, is like in panic mode. Well, because of this, all the people that vote blue, no matter who, bing, the alarm clock just went off on them, and they are waking up. Now, some people say, yeah, we've got control over the weather. Well, if we do, somebody had a good game plan, because these floods on the East Coast, they're making every blue bimbo, idiot, baboon, and bimbo look absolutely horrible. And this is close enough to the next big job interviews, in November of 24, just literally 13 months away. All this deluge of rain, I always tell people, if you have to deal with a flood, it means the water was sent there to wash away the evil. So all of this flooding from the rain, from the storms, is there to wash away the corruption. What it's doing, it's washing away the curtain, the smoke screen. People are now seeing the corruption and the horrible stuff that the donkeys are doing. It's a blessing in disguise, because you've got the rainstorms causing water damage and too much, it's flooding. They scheduled Diane's crossing of the Rainbow Bridge, so there's no budget passed. So now people are going to be having to deal with the flooding with no big government help. And it's a blessing in disguise for down along the Rio Grande or southern borders. Because, go back, read the Second Amendment. I mean, hometown groups, men defending their property. So now, with no big government in working, the people that should be keeping an eye on the southern border, they're not going to go to work if they're not going to get paid. So that leaves a big opening for what they used to term as the home guard. I mean, all it's going to take is a couple phone calls to the local social clubs that are like where veterans kind of hang out. One has the letters V period, F period, W period. The other one has an A and an L in the name. The second word begins with an L. Phone calls are going to network through all of those groups and the Retired Association of Police, because all those guys know what to do. And if you're retired PD or retired out from some other government agency, you basically, those people don't need to go get a concealed carry license. And most of them really can take the head off a rattlesnake at 100 yards. So what's going to be next is those guys are going to get together. They're going to go be there at the border. And if should somebody step onto property they don't, as long as they have signs up saying trespassers will be shot, all those guys can take them out with one pow. One pow pow. And then what you do is you got the guys who were supposed to be working on government construction jobs. Yeah, you got a backhoe and a bulldozer to scoop up the you know what, and put it in a trench. So the fact that they are pulling this nonsense, the average Joe Schmo can go and actually lock down our southern border. This is what I'm getting. These are the messages I am getting. And folks, if you are in Texas, Arizona, California, Louisiana, all our southern border states, whether you are connected by land, if you have the Rio Grande there, or if you're on the Gulf Coast, go get some, go visit antique stores, old farm auctions, junk shops, because you know those things that if an animal walks on them, they go, and a lot of times an animal will chew off an appendage to escape. Go get a bunch of those and start scattering them on your property. It's called protecting your you put up there no trespassing, private property. And if you have it on your property and one of these fools accidentally steps in it, it's his own darn fault. Get them out. Especially, hey, I have some family and friends in Oklahoma. Get those bear traps out and grease them up. Big time. It's kind of crazy. Now, something else I know we're all watching to see who Gruesome Newsom finds to replace Diane. Now, one theory that's going out is he's going to ask Cammy Poop if she'll resign as VP to take the Senate seat. Doesn't Los Angeles have a woman of color as mayor? I'm getting it's going to be someone from the Los Angeles area. Now, another thing where they're going, they have to put women who have a dark complexion in places all over. They just, Harvard University just announced their new president of the university is a black female. They said they're breaking traditions. Well, actually, Harvard is playing towards the ultra liberals of the Boston, of the New England area, because they need money. Yeah. These super expensive schools, maybe 5% of the student population is self-pay. And those kids automatically, they get passing grades to get the diploma because they're not on financial aid. But they put in this new black female as president of Harvard University to play up to these liberal idiots, especially those with big money. So basically, it's like they did it as a favor to get somebody like Billy Gates to cough up cash donation, revamp all their computers. Yeah. To get some money from Microsoft and a few other big corps. Yeah. Now, some other stuff that is I want to bring up, because now if we don't have a budget, yeah, government shutdown, which means normal people can go and defend our southern borders. Be watchful, because the Big Red Sea is making noise, and it's now being leaked that they're really tight with a country called Paraguay in Central America. That's where they are dumping off all the Big Red Sea guys of military age so they can be transported to the Rio Grande. The Big Red Sea, yeah, is filling up Paraguay and the island country of Sri Lanka. Those are their two staging areas. Yeah, they want to come and have a forceful invasion into the United States. Is this government shutdown part of the plan to allow the Big Red Sea with a I'm going to use the term, remember that game Risk? Yeah. I mean, I have to be careful what I say. It's like a forceful migration of people. That's what the Big Red Sea, they're staging all these people for a by force migration into the United States. They're being staged in Paraguay. And now they're like basically kind of taking over Sri Lanka. So they have a staging area to go into India and the countries on the Arabian coastline. The two staging areas, Paraguay and Sri Lanka. And I did do some checking, and yeah, I grew up bouncing back and forth in and out of Saudi Arabia, so I can understand what's being said on the news. No, I don't take everything that I see broadcast out of India as the God's truth. I take it with a grain of salt, and then I add some other stuff into it. Well, I did catch a little bit of the streaming from out of the Middle East, and yes, the Saudis are they're playing nice. They know that Jojo is he's not there. They know they're dealing with Barry. And you see, the Saudis, yeah, they're religious people, but they're not extremists. Like they're not religious zealots, okay? So they don't like the nonsense that goes on especially in Iran with the mullahs. I mean, yeah, the Saudi government does do some crazy things, like in front of every residence of a person who's able to wear gold on their outer cloak. Yeah, it means they're a member of the royal family. And depending on how much gold you've got means how high you are up in the royal family. So some guys just have like just an itty bitty bit of gold piping along a seam line, which means they're of the royal blood. But they're not not very high up. But it was always a joke when we would be going around Jeddah and Riyadh that every so often in front of this big complex there would be all these speed bumps. That was because back in the early 70s, a woman who was a blood royal princess was in a dispute with her husband, and the husband was not being very nice to her. So she said, "I'm not putting up with this stuff," and she ran out the front door. Well, there was some idiot flying down the street, and yeah, and she was flat as a pancake. So now they have it set up that in front of any of the royal residences, there's speed bumps. So if any of the wives run out of the door to avoid a husband being not so nice to her, they won't be. Yeah. But yeah, the Saudis they don't tolerate a lot of nonsense. They're putting up with Jim Crow Joe and Cammy Poop. But they're really in conversation with the elephants. And they're waiting for the return of the elephants. And basically, they're not going to do anything. They're just standing firm, and they're not going to do anything to let Donkey Joe look good. They're just biding their time. Because the story was about, something to do with the oil and this and that. And I'm like, they know the donkeys are idiots. And the Saudis are just, they're playing nice with them, but once it's admitted that Jim Crow Joe, the Jojo and Cammy show are being produced by Barry Soetoro, they're going to call everybody out. The Saud family is not dumb. I mean, yeah, I was around. I was living there when the ruling guy was a kid. Yeah, I'm that old. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And we've got, yeah, Just No Brain Trudeau. He's been exposed. He threw the Speaker of the House under the bus. But a lot of people are leaving Ontario in droves. They're heading over to Alberta. Pretty soon, there aren't going to be enough people living in Ontario and Ottawa to maintain the city that Just No Brain has his government based out of. So Just No Brain is going to end up having, in order to have a working infrastructure, he's going to be forced to resign. And applauding that guy with the lightning bolts tattooed under his arm is the tip of the iceberg. That is the catalyst to get rid of Just No Brain. So, okay. I've been going for a half an hour. I want to make sure this gets uploaded. I hope everybody has a great Saturday afternoon. Enjoy your first day of October. And I will be talking with you, Monday, October 2nd. Yes, for October. Videos will be up on even days of the week. 4:30 unless I give you advance notice like I did the other day. And the second and fourth Saturdays I will be doing my live broadcast. So thank you everybody for all your good wishes with my thing with the doctors the other day. And a good friend did watch and he goes, "My God, you looked exhausted." Well, I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to be at the hospital before 6, so it was like, I was dead tired. But everybody have a great one. Enjoy if you're here in the Midwest, 80 degrees in the October tomorrow. Have a good one. I'll be talking to you on Monday. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Oh, yeah. Make sure you're still subscribed to the thing. I will be putting this also up on the Green R tomorrow because I know how the billing structures are and I'm on disability and I want to make sure there's nothing will hit as an overdraft. So tomorrow or Monday I will get the membership for Elon's platform because thanks to Fiona and Graham, we now know you can do live broadcasts we'll broadcast on both of those platforms at the same time. The Big Red R, you can't. You got to use their live broadcast stuff. So I'm just going to basically what goes up here after it uploads here, I'll upload onto the Green R and I'll put the link to here on Elon's platform. And then either Sunday or Monday, I'll sign up for Elon's platform so people can watch on 2 different platforms. Yes. So everybody have a good one. And I also found out that I'm automatically getting the stuff, the moneytized on the Green R. Surprise, surprise. Okay. Catch you Monday. Bye-bye.